Hello and welcome to level 39 of the Thoughts and Players podcast, the gaming podcast with bold takes and no strings attached. I am Jeremy, here once again with my two compadres. I have David.
What up?
And I have Cory.
All your base are belong to us.
I know that one, but I don't know
I
what
know
it's
that
from.
one too.
It's from Zero Wing, of course. We've all played Zero Wing for the Sega Mega Drive.
Yeah, I don't remember ever playing that. I don't remember
Yep.
ever playing a Mega Drive, but I somehow
Never
remember that
It's
quote.
it's much
It's
more famous
used.
for the
It's
quote.
it's a troll.
Right.
Yeah, it's in a bunch of songs and everything.
Okay, cool. That's enlightening. Well, great. Once again, you come back with a strong quote, I think, in my mind.
All
None
right.
of us, I think, knew where it came from or played the game. Strong quote. We are back again, level 39. Ladies and gentlemen, chickens, ducks, and hens, we are glad you are joining us for this level of the podcast. We got some good stuff cooked up for you. So we're going to jump right into it with the newsy news, the morning announcements. And for this level's announcements, we have 5 items on the board. Item number 1. Ubisoft has reportedly greenlit development on a new Splinter Cell game. Now, guys, we've talked not too long in the distant past about Sam Fisher sneaking up and stuff. He was a playable operative in some of the Rainbow Six stuff. Maybe we thought he was going to be a playable DLC character in Super Smash, I think, for some reason. That comes to mind, but I can't remember for sure. We've been alluding to old Sam Fisher, and Ubisoft said, wait a minute. We're probably going to get very lukewarm reaction to Far Cry 6. We got to come up with something big. Guys, are you excited for Sam Fisher?
I don't know if I'm excited. I'm glad Splinter Cell is coming back. I remember playing the original on PlayStation. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to wait and see, a trailer or gameplay or something to see if I am interested. But either way, I'm glad it's coming back.
I'm excited for the fans of Splinter Cell. I am not really a stealth gamer, and Splinter Cell is definitely stealth. So, not my cup of tea, but I'm happy for the people that really enjoy that franchise. If it has a really good multiplayer showing, because they have the Mercs versus the Spies kind of mercenaries versus spies online gameplay, that was always a ton of fun. So that might get me, but besides that, I'm not personally excited. How about you, Jeremy?
Well, I am a little bit. I think the later games got away from the stealth as
Okay.
much. They were kind of like Assassin's Creed, right? And start with
Okay.
stealth, and then it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I remember when the very first Splinter Cell came out. I was so hyped for that bleeping game. Looking at screenshots, and I think it was either Game Informer. It just looked incredible, the graphic fidelity, right? And so Sam Fisher finally making a comeback. Hopefully they don't Ubisoft it, right? Open world icons everywhere. They keep it as like a more of a linear adventure, but looking forward to it. Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah. News item number 2 is that Xbox Game Pass, or Xbox and their Game Pass, it missed their annual target. I don't know. This may be devastating news to the people over there at the Big Green. Xbox had originally put a target out. They wanted to increase their subscriber base by almost 48%, 47.79, and they only increased it by about 38%, 10% off their target. Guys, we've talked about Xbox Game Pass being the best deal in gaming. Do you think that these signs are troubling, that maybe people aren't seeing the value in Game Pass? Or is it just, hey, you guys were being super cocky, you're not going to get those numbers? Calm down a little bit. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I think it's more of the cocky thing. Like, only so many people are gonna get into Game Pass that even play like the games enough to think the 15 or however much bucks, depending on which one you get a month, is even worth it. And just to try and get 40, that's a lot. Like, I would have figured maybe like 20% would be a great increase because they already have such a huge fan base as it is. Like, I've been using Xbox Gold and then now Game Pass for freaking 10 years, you know? So not only do they have the long fan base, but the short fan base, and there's only so many people anything that is being sold is gonna get. You can't always increase, I think.
Yeah, companies have this weird thing where they set goals and they reach those goals, and then the next quarter they set even loftier goals, and they expect to hit those loftier goals every time. And when they do, they put even loftier ones. Like at some point, it's got to level out a little bit. And this wasn't
Yeah.
even leveling out. This was a 38% increase. This was
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
So
Right.
to be disappointed, I don't know if they were disappointed. I'm sure they were because they set a target, but 38% is a good increase.
Oh yeah. Especially based, I think last time I heard something like 13 to 15 million people were Xbox Game Pass subscribers. So they already have a huge subscription base, and the idea that they could throw that by or increase that by over 30%, I mean,
That's excellent.
incredible. Yeah. So I think they missed the target, but I still think they're like well on the way to making this even more of a behemoth than it already is.
Yeah.
News item number 3. God of War 2018 is coming to PC on January 14th, 2022. As much as we've talked about having a sense of urgency in game releases, trying to make it as accessible as possible, Sony PlayStation has begrudgingly had to do similar things, and this is one of them where they say, "Hey, you know, pretty much everybody that wants to play this game or have this game already has it because it's 4 years old. Let's go ahead and throw it on PC for $50 and see if we can milk any more money out of this IP on a different platform." And hopefully prime some new people to be interested in God of War Ragnarok when it comes out next year, which of course PC players won't get for another 4 years, but it is something. So guys, what do you think about that? Sony's bringing another title. It's a big title to PC, but do you think it matters almost 4 years after the fact?
I think it matters a little bit because I still don't know anything about the game, really. And I don't know if I'm going to spend the $50, but you guys seem very convincing, and I am interested in playing it. So if it ever goes on sale or something for like 20, $30, I'll probably grab it. But there are people that live under rocks, like myself sometimes. So I think it is relevant. I just don't think it should be just thrown out there for 50 right away, saying as it is a 4-year-old game. Just because it's on a new system really doesn't mean it's worth the new price, you know?
Yeah, this is Sony's biggest IP in my opinion. So putting this on PC really, I think, opens up the door for every IP they own. You know, why wouldn't they put every IP they own on PC eventually? I think for Sony, it's a good deal because they're going to get customers that don't have PlayStations to buy this game. For PC gamers, this is definitely a win. You know, obviously, if you're a main PC gamer, you're not worried about consoles, but you do miss out on a few exclusives, and this is one of the big ones that they had missed out on. And even for PlayStation players, it doesn't really hurt them. You know, like it's 4 years later, you don't feel cheated. Like, why'd I buy that system if it was just going to come to PC? It was so long afterwards that okay, yeah, they can play it now. So yeah, I think it's a win for pretty much everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming from somewhat of a PC standpoint. My thing is, oh, okay, you give us your game 4 years afterwards, and you only take $10 off of it.
Right.
And the PC game sphere is crowded enough. It's not like consoles. I think there's infinitely more choices on PC than there is for consoles now. So it's kind of like you got to compete in that area as well. And I don't know. I think maybe if they brought it, especially I'm looking at it where I bought it last year for $20, and I feel like I got ripped off because you can buy it everywhere brand new now for $10. So the idea that if someone has a PlayStation 4 laying around that they could grab it for 10 compared to PC grabbing it for 50, what's the increase? Just get it 20 to me, $20-$30 more of kind of like a double A tier price. Get those people suckered in, and then don't wait 4 years to give them Ragnarok because you can get them for 70 there. But I don't
Right.
know. I don't know what their strat is. But yeah, PC people have a chance to play it in all its graphical fidelity. They'll definitely get the best graphical experience of it, I think, unless you played it on the PlayStation 5 like I do. News item number 4. Nintendo's presented a upgraded Nintendo Online, which more than doubles the price for N64 and Sega games. This sounds so Nintendo that I can't even. So, Cory, our
Yes.
resident Nintendo expert,
Okay.
that somehow is able to see the good in this company.
No,
as
I don't
well
like
as-
Nintendo.
You don't?
No, I hate everything they
Okay.
do.
Okay,
For
well,
one,
tell us what you hate about this.
yeah. So what I hate about this is their online is $20, and to get the right to play N64 or Sega games, which previously you could buy them separately on their consoles, any of the games that you wanted. You know, if you wanted Ocarina of Time, hey, it was on sale for $10. They're curating a select number of N64 games with more to come out later. Who knows how much later? But yeah, they're over doubling the price. It's $50 for a single person membership from 20 to 50. Now you do get some Sega games. There's about 14 Sega games, a couple really good ones, but you know, those are old games. N64 games, there's 10 of them. And then you also do get the expansion for Animal Crossing. It's coming out, I believe, next year. But I mean, some people don't have Animal Crossing, so for them it would really just be just those two games. And for me, that's not worth it at all. These are old games, very old games.
Very old games. Very old games and IPs that they've milked for 30 plus years.
Yeah, it feels bad, man, because you know I bought a few of these on the Wii U. There's no way to get them to the Switch, you know? There's just no way. You have to go through the system if you want to play N64 games. But you shouldn't, because most of those games are trash. N64 is not a great console.
You're talking a lot of crap. You're talking a lot of crap that I completely agree with. All right?
Says you.
Yeah, says I. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, totally agree, man. I don't know what's up with Nintendo, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. It's same.
They're greedy. They're a company. They're greedy.
The weird thing is that they're greedy even when they have dumpster fires. Like even when they had the Wii U, they were still being greedy.
Yes.
Yeah. News item number 5. Let's just move to that. A Quiet Place. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie.
I haven't.
Directed by the John Krasinski, starring him and his wife Emily Blunt in the first one, and then just starring his wife Emily Blunt and the children in the second one. Paramount has now said, "Hey, let's make it a game." So they're making it a game that will launch next year in 2022. I've seen both movies. Both movies are really good. I have no interest in a game of them, but apparently Paramount thinks that they can make money. Guys, does this make sense? Are you interested in A Quiet Place, the game?
Not really. I haven't seen the movies. I mean,
Okay.
it sounds like it'd be like a horror type game, right?
Yeah.
So that aspect might hook me in, but besides that, like I'm gonna have to watch the movies to even maybe make a judgment on it.
The great movies.
Yeah, I've only seen the first one. First one was really excellent. I'm happy to see that companies are doing this with IPs because I like games based off movies, TV shows, even if a lot of times they're trash. But when you do get that one that's really good, it feels cool. You know, you're in that universe that you really enjoy. So
Exactly.
But A Quiet Place sounds even more stealthy than Splinter Cell, which I just
does.
I just said I am not a stealth guy, and if there's going to be a stealth game, it's going to be the game where you can't make sound or the monsters kill you. So I will pass on this, but looking forward to seeing it and how it plays out.
Prime example of a movie property working well in video games: Aliens Colonial Marines. We are now done with morning announcements, and we move on to Roundtable, where we have a singular topic of discussion that we discuss. And for this roundtable, we're doing a little duality here, a little yin yang, a little dark and light, right? We've talked about how delayed games have been the theme of 2021. It's going to be a red hot year for 2022, which had us thinking, you know what? What games have we bought or experienced that were delayed that ended up being one of the best games we've played, and what delayed games have ended up being one of the worst games we've played? I think it's a nice little fun thought experiment. So to start this off, let's start with the worst games. Let's get the bad out the way, go to the good. Now, I'm going to take a leap here and say that David, we kind of know your game. I think it's a great selection. Would you mind going first?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, so starting with the worst delayed games, I of course chose Cyberpunk because we all know the monstrosity of a dumpster fire that release was.
Yep.
Now we know it, it was playable. Cory put 30 hours into it. He liked the game, but so many people had problems. I had a problem. I can't continue the game. I have to restart it from start. Yeah, I was only 2 hours in, but that's just annoying in general. And what is it? A year later, now it's like playable without major issues.
Yeah. Still having issues with next gen um
Yeah, so see,
versions of it, but
there's
yeah.
still some things up in the air. Like
Yeah.
it was rushed, and we've had this discussion many times. This game should have came out next year or something.
Yeah.
It just made a lot. Everyone really hated Project Red there for a little bit.
Yeah, which is rare because we love them so much. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Like it was so 180 of them. But yeah, I mean, not much else to say that I haven't said before. It's Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Yeah. It was we were all disappointed when we got it. One of us even returned theirs.
After 30 hours.
Yeah. So
After 30 hours, it crashed over 30 times on me. I know it did.
I would,
It was,
yeah.
Oh, holy crap.
it was sad because this is a good pick, David, because you can't get away with launching something that buggy, that messy. And unfortunately, at the core of it, it still had good bones of a game. It had good
Right.
systems.
It has great potential.
But man, it's just yeah, they were pressured to release it too early. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Cory,
Yeah, I'm here. All right.
offer your worst.
I'm actually picking a game that's I think pretty well received as well, even probably more so than Cyberpunk. But this is almost like a field type thing. So now there was this game announced, and I pre-ordered it for my brother for Christmas. I got him a little pre-order card, and it was supposed to come out early that next year, and it ended up getting delayed 3 times. And I think he received it 2 Christmases later. BioShock Infinite. Now, BioShock, the first game, is one of mine and my brother's favorite games. The atmosphere is there, the story is amazing, and we were pumped for BioShock Infinite. Very, very excited for it. And it felt like as the game kept getting delayed, the excitement dwindled and dwindled and dwindled until finally, when it did come out, it was just a melted ice cream cone. Nothing you can do with it. It just was it was dead. It was dead for us. And like I said, it's renowned. It's a good game, but it just didn't live up to the hype. And by then, it felt like it had passed its time a little bit. But still, I will say it's a good game. It's just for me personally a delayed game that was just no bueno for us.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good. You already had lofty expectations with it being a BioShock game.
Right.
It took so long to come out. The excitement wore down, all that stuff.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
gonna say, you can only be hyped for so long for something.
Yeah. My worst one, believe it or not, it's going to be exciting. No Man's Sky does not make the list here. The one that I had that was worse for me was a little game called LA Noire. Okay. Super pumped being a Grand Theft. Yeah. It being a Grand Theft Auto fan, reading about LA Noire, I'm like, oh, this is basically going to be GTA from the cop perspective, 1950s LA. This is going to be absolutely awesome. You read like all the different stuff that was coming out with it, and it was not that. It was and other thing about it too, just to add some more context, is that was also the year I went out to LA to work on like a movie or whatever, and one of the actors in that movie did face acting for one of the perps you bust early in that game. Actor's name is Daniel Roebuck, and he played a pedophile. Great. But so the pacing at the beginning is great. I'm getting into it. There's a couple of faces. The main guy is one of the guys from Mad Men. I'm like, okay, this is cool, and it just peters out. It becomes tedious. the interrogation mechanism is cool, but a lot of times it just didn't make sense in regards to the questions you would ask, how they would respond, and what that was supposed to lead you to. The arc of the character was fine, but it was a little bit ungratifying towards the end. And yeah, this game took 7 years. Like, you gotta give me better, man. And I was this game came out, I believe, after GTA 4. So I'm already disappointed with GTA 4. Then I get LA Noire, and that's booty. Like, what gives? So I remember just being super disappointed. I remember cracking it open. It was a 2-discer. I'm like, oh, this is going to be legit. I had the whole little thing with the map, had the map of old Los Angeles and everything, but it just didn't pan out, man. Was not good stuff. For a game that I think many people probably consider to be pretty decent. It's kind of the same.
I was about to say, I think we all picked pretty highly rated games right there.
Yeah.
At least decent ones. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. All of them somewhat open world too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Now let's go to the best delayed game that we've played. David, you started it. Start it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So mine's probably obvious if you guys even think about it.
Oh yeah.
It is The Last of Us 2, Part 2. Now, that game took forever to come out, but it was so worth the wait. It was such a great game. I liked the way the story arc went. I just the feel of the game, the looks of it. It was just an all amazing game. Like I want to play it again. But I don't have my friend's PS5 anymore, or PS4 anymore. Sorry, and I'm gonna have to get it whenever I get a PS5. But it won the Game Year of the War award last year, didn't it?
It did, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. So that just says it all right there.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
It's a very good game. It's a great game. Yeah.
That's the best delay game ever.
I've actually got a better delayed game than you, unfortunately.
What do you got?
So let me take you back to January 2013. Nintendo announces a little game called Breath of the Wild coming out to the Wii U in 2015. Now, given the circumstances with the Wii U being as poor of a system as it is, it got delayed to 2016, eventually into 2017, where it would become the greatest launch game of any system ever when it came out on the Switch. And thank God it did, because the Wii U was a dead system. So you have a brand new open world Zelda game that's releasing the same day as their brand new hybrid console. And there was nothing as sweet as playing Breath of the Wild on the day you got a Switch. It was magnificent. It changed the formula for Zelda. It taught everyone how to make open world games where nothing is closed off to you. You can go anywhere in the world, truly. You can climb anything. You can go anywhere from the beginning. It is one of the greatest games ever made, no doubt. And it was the greatest delayed game because it was delayed 3 times. People were worried. And then it launched with the Switch, and the rest is history.
That's
Well, I could see why there's so much hype for the second one.
It's an amazing game,
right? Especially since, like, I had it as my number one game art style. It's a fantastic game. It is one of the greatest games ever made. It absolutely is. Yeah. That's a great selection. I was very close to picking that myself. Luckily, I didn't, so that way we wouldn't have a repeat. Yeah, you might be surprised what mine is. But I remember, I'm a first-person shooter guy, right? I'm not good at them, but I enjoy them. Zipping around back in the day playing Unreal. Zipping around playing Quake. Zipping around playing Doom, right? So the game that I was most anticipating was Doom 4. But we never got Doom 4. You know what we did get? Doom 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Doom 2016 came in like a bat out of hell. Amazing graphics, tons of gory splendor of beating demons, ripping their hearts out, ripping them in half. It's fast, it's frantic. That music is absolutely incredible. And I think, much like Breath of the Wild helped elevate RPGs, right? that Doom 2016 has put a new step into first-person shooters. There's less shooters now are exploring more of the Call of Duty kind of like, boom, 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 stop, boom, 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 stop. And it's much more about movement and motion again, right? And that's what Doom does and did best, right? I remember when I first saw it, seeing that trailer, I was giddy. And then Anita Sarkeesian started saying stuff, and I was like, please, not right now, right? I just absolutely loved it and was looking forward to it, and it delivered. Played Doom 2016, played Doom Eternal. I actually liked 2016 more than Eternal, but Eternal was good too. But yeah, Doom, man, that was a hitter. That was an absolute hitter. Now I'm waiting for Quake. I want a Quake. I don't think we'll ever get one again. I don't know, but I want a Quake next. So that was it for me, man.
Could
Doom
you
2016.
please?
Could you please give me a Quake? Yeah, because Quake has you dealing with people. Quake, you're killing people.
Okay.
That's
Doom,
the game I used to play in keyboarding class.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It'll teach you how to keyboard, that's for sure. Yeah. All right, that is our roundtable for best and worst delayed games. Guys, just let us know what game was delayed that ended up being terrible and what game came out that ended up being absolutely great. There's tons of choices out there. But those are ours. So, that done, we're going to move into quickfire. We're going to talk about 1, 2, sometimes 3 games that we've been playing and want to highlight. Who wants to go with the quickfire first?
I'll go.
All right.
I got Apex and Beat Saber. I keep it original, keep it usual.
Yeah.
I have less time lately, so I haven't been putting much time into the gaming, but I gotta play the ones that I'm addicted to, I guess. That's my quickfire.
Yeah.
Short and sweet. I like it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'll go next real quick. I've been playing Metroid Dread, but we're going to talk about that a lot next segment.
Yeah.
I bought Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Oh,
I've been looking for an arcade racer to fill the void that Mario. You can only play Mario Kart so much. I know that doesn't apply to you, Jeremy, because you seemingly play it all the time. But
I go in spurts.
Right. Yeah. I wanted another one, and this hits that mark so well. It's a little bit simpler than Mario Kart. It doesn't have item boxes to kind of destroy other racers. You really only drift. That's like the main mechanic behind it. But man, it's so sweet. The cars they're Hot Wheel cars, and they don't pretend like there's racers in it. It's just the original Hot Wheel cars in all its glory. They've got so many unique ones: a hot dog car, garbage truck, all with different stats. The tracks are a lot of fun. You got obviously the orange track that you do loops and jumps, and you got the T-Rex mouth that you got to go through, and they're all built in huge open areas like a college campus, and you're going through bookshelves. It's a really, really fun racing game. I'm got like 15 hours into it already, but yeah, I'm having a blast with that one.
I was at the store the other day and I heard random people talking about that. They were looking for that game. They're like, I'm looking for the Hot Wheels game, man. It looks so much fun and blah, 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 blah.
It's a ton of fun. It got good reviews, and that's what got me interested, because you think of Hot Wheels, you don't think of a good racing game.
Yeah,
usually.
I was very surprised.
And there's apparently a really, really good track maker, which I haven't really got into yet because I'm playing through like the single player to unlock all the stuff that you can put on your track. So yeah, been a real, real fun game. And then I just recently bought Guardians of the Galaxy. Just got a couple hours into it. It seems like it's going to be a pretty solid game. Third-person action game. Keeps the humor of the movie. So we'll see how that one goes. But so far, so good.
Nice. Nice. My quick fires. Wolfenstein, both the New Order and the Old Blood. Fantastic games. They're so good. They're so freaking good. A little bit of Angry Birds too. So much fun. So much fun. I've been playing a decent amount of Valheim with my girlfriend and her brother. Jumping back into that. Forgot how fun that game is. That game is incredible. And then I've been playing a game called Wildermyth, which is going to end up on a list somewhere because it's that freaking good. It is that freaking good. Like fantasy storytelling, tactical RPG. It is glorious. I will probably play more of it after we get done recording tonight. I have had terrible work performance in the mornings recently because of this game. So. And then there's another one that I will talk about a little bit later. So that is it for quick fire, which means We're going to take a quick breaks. And when we come back, we will be back with Was It Worth It?
This level of the Thoughts and Players podcast was made possible by your support. If you're enjoying the podcast, please be sure to like, rate, and share the show, as well as contribute to our community questions and segments. Doing so helps the show grow, keeps our content engaging, and most importantly, makes sure your voice is heard. Thanks for tuning in. And now, back to the show.
And we are back with more Thoughts and Players. And we are moving on to our favorite segment, your favorite segment, the Geese's and the Birds' favorite segment. That's right. Was it worth it? And for this, Was It Worth It? We have Cory giving us his impression / review of
Metroid Dread.
Dread.
I didn't know if I was supposed to say it. Oh, jeez.
All right, it's all right.
Oh, jeez.
It's all right. As you know, we cover 5 categories of visuals, sound and music, story, the technical aspects, and the gameplay. But before we do that, we should give you an overview of what Metroid Dread is. Cory, what is Metroid Dread?
Yeah, Metroid Dread is a third-person action Metroidvania. If you don't know what a Metroidvania is, it comes from the original game Metroid, where you go through this big map and you collect power-ups, and the power-ups are used to help you get through previous areas where you couldn't access them before. And you kind of go through this map, collecting power-ups, getting stronger, and getting more abilities that help you traverse through the map and finishing the game. And Metroidvania is a very popular genre. A lot of them are in 2D, but there are some 3D Metroidvanias. This one is in 2D. But yeah, that's pretty much the overview.
Nice. So let's do a breakdown. Now, this is obviously a Nintendo game, a Nintendo Switch exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk visuals. What are the visuals you would give for Metroid Dread?
All right, so this one was tough. I kind of described it to my buddy as they are almost good.
Okay.
Like they're almost good. Like Nintendo does a great job of art styles, and even though they don't have a powerhouse console, you look at something like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, any other first-person games pretty much, and you think they look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Metroid Dread went with a little more of a realistic approach. Not totally realistic, but a little more realistic, and they can't really pull that off. It almost feels like someone tried to make a mobile version of a really, really good-looking game, like a really good-looking game.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite hit. It's very close though. Like at some points, if you squint, you think this game looks amazing in every which way. It doesn't look bad, but I wouldn't put it as great. And like I said, it's almost good, but not quite there. It's close, but it's not unappealing.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I completely understand where you're coming from.
I described it as kind of like Oceanhorn compared to Wind Waker. Do you know that mobile game Oceanhorn?
Yep.
It looks like Wind Waker, but not quite.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how. Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay. Now, how would you describe sound and music? This is a little bit interesting because we're dealing with the Switch here. Mm-hmm. So, did you play it mostly docked or any kind of mobile aspects at all?
Zero mobile. I don't play Switch mobile really, but yeah, 100% docked. Metroid isn't known for voice acting, and in this one, it doesn't really change. There's sounds that the characters make. They talk in like a different language, and never Samus. And then there's a computer that talks, and that's fine. The music is pretty good. It's Metroid 100%. If you ever played a Metroid, it's the exact. I would say even some of the same tracks for the most part. Very atmospheric, very sci-fi kind of alien world type of music, if that makes any sense at all. But yeah, the music is pretty good. The atmosphere with the music is great. So not bad here.
Okay. How would you describe the story then? Metroids usually have a story. So
do they?
They usually do.
Do they?
So yeah, they usually do. So how would you describe the story?
Usually?
Okay, so Samus crash lands on a planet, and she falls to the very bottom of the planet, and she loses all her abilities. And the first thing you kind of have to do is make your way up through this planet, through the different biomes, and get your abilities back. And as you progress through this, you uncover species that you might have seen in previous games. You figure out a little bit of the origin of the Chozo, which is the warrior race or a peaceful race. There are kind of two sides to it where Samus was kind of raised by. And I wouldn't say the story was great. Some of the moments in the story are really cool. Samus, while not speaking, has some really just cool moments when she's in cutscenes and she versus bosses. You know, it looks like she can handle her business, and I really enjoyed those aspects of her like personality, where it was a little bit cocky. But yeah, the story itself, not anything to write home about.
Okay. Not anything to write home about. Would you say it's like a meh kind of?
I mean, it's really just it's not on the forefront. You know, it's not
Gotcha.
something you really think about. It's not even something that drives you from place to place.
Got you. Okay. Well, technical aspects. Did you have any technical issues with the game?
Thinking back, no, none at all.
No?
Ran perfect. The loading was maybe a little bit longer, but I'm used to that sweet SSD now. So anything over 5 seconds feels like an eternity. So
Yeah.
it wasn't bad, but yeah, a little bit of loading. They kind of hide it. You know, when you're going up elevators, they show a cutscene of Samus just standing there, and it takes about 20 seconds. You know, it's a loading screen, but yeah. So, but besides that, really good.
Okay. Well, then let's get to the big one. Gameplay.
Yes.
It's a Metroidvania. A lot of gameplay there. How would you describe it?
Yeah, the gameplay is fun. Samus is a bounty hunter with a suit, and she has a like power gun. So almost like Mega Man, where she can shoot bullets out of her gun. You're traversing this world. Like I said, it has different biomes. A lot of fun. The platforming is really good in this. Samus moves very quick. She has really fun jumping abilities where she can like wall jump, and they use that to really good effect to make it feel like you're kind of flying through these levels if you want to. Previous Metroids were a little bit slower, and that gets a little bit dull.
Yeah.
The gunplay is really good. For the most part, you shoot where you're walking, but you also do have with LB, you have a stand still button where you can then aim your gun in any direction, and that is really precise. It works really well. Some of the gameplay features that they put in these they're called Emmys, which are like these robots. I don't know if you guys seen them in the trailers or anything like that.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain zones that you go to, and they track you down. Now, initially, these were pretty fun. You know, I got to the first zone, and the Emmy was chasing you, and as long as you were good enough at platforming, you could escape them. And I thought that was a really good thing. It brought a tense moment. As the game gets further on, they get much stronger abilities, and you cannot run them. You have to almost use stealth. And like I said previously in this level, I'm not a huge fan of stealth. And there was even spots where they take place underwater, so you're moving like a snail. And that wasn't too fun. Some of those took a long time. But besides those, the game really, really keeps the content coming. Now, like I said, Metroidvanias, you get these power-ups. And man, I didn't know Samus had these many power-ups, but you get them constantly. I beat the game in 8 hours. You get a power-up, I might even say like every 20 minutes. You know, first thing you get is like a missile, and then you get a new suit, then you get a double jump, then you get a dash, and then they just keep the power-ups coming, and it feels really good. Because in games, we love collecting new things. Now, I thought that was a huge positive for me, but there is a downside to that. So at the beginning of the game, you're playing and you're killing enemies in 1 or 2 hits. You get to the next biome, and the enemies are a little bit harder. You know, it takes them a little while longer to kill them. As soon as you get that power-up, though, it's the same thing. So it's almost, if this makes sense, like you're playing at the same rate the entire game. Because as soon as the enemies get a little bit harder, they give you a power-up that takes care of them. I thought it was fun, but other people might, like my buddy, he was not a fan of it, you know, because it feels similar throughout. And I guess another thing I could say about the gameplay is the bosses were a lot of fun. Now, if you read reviews, a lot of people kind of pumped up the bosses, and I would say for good reason. They were kind of innovative. There was platforming to go along with the shooting. They do recycle a couple of the mini bosses, which is kind of a shame, but for the most part, bosses real fun. Gameplay excellent.
Nice. So kind of almost like the inverse of the Elder Scrolls problem, where the world levels up with you. You seem to level up with the world, and it equals out.
Yeah, it does really equal out. Which, like I said, I would rate that as a positive for myself. I felt like I had fun with it, but I can see where it would be a negative for some people.
Yeah. Well, There's a lot there. So we take into account visuals, sound and music, story, technical gameplay. The game goes for $59.99 right now, right?
Yes, yes.
Was it worth it, Cory?
I'm a little stuck on this. No, it's not worth $60. It's a 2D Metroidvania, and I wouldn't even say it's the best in its class. I would say something like Hollow Knight is excellent in all regards. Dead Cells, while not strictly a Metroidvania, is really, really good. There's a lot of really there's a lot of really, really good Metroidvanias for Ori. Ori's are amazing. And they really have those graphics and the fidelity that really shine, even for a 2D game. Metroid doesn't have graphics like that. And for $60, an 8-hour game, it's just not worth it. It's not, which is weird because this is definitely going to make my top 10 of the year. It's a very good game. It really is, but it's not worth 60. I can't say it is. That's that's very expensive. And the production value isn't there.
Yeah.
And when you compare it to other games of the genre, it's slightly below the best ones. And those best ones, Hollow Knight retails for $15.
Right.
You can get 30 to 40 hours of gameplay in that. There's optional bosses, there's secret areas. Metroid is, for being a Metroidvania, it's pretty straightforward. I know there's some ways to break the sequence and kind of get through quicker, but there's not much to discover.
Yeah.
So, great game, not worth 60.
Do you think it's a blind spot for Nintendo there? Is it an area they maybe not realize they've been outclassed in for a while now? Because Hollow Knight and Ori, those aren't games that came out this year. Those are 4 or 5, 6-year-old games.
Right. No, I don't think Nintendo cares. I think Metroid sold very well from the last time I read. It sold like gangbusters. So, and people really wanted a 2D Metroid. You know, it's one of the premier franchises in all the gaming in terms of, so yeah, I don't think Nintendo cares. They put out a good product, but it's not top of the class. And when you're asking in terms of Hollow Knight, you're asking for 3 times the price. I have an issue with that. Not everyone's going to have an issue. Some people are happy just to play as Samus and play in that world again, and I can accept that. But for me, $60, not worth it. I did end up trading it in already because single-player game, it doesn't hold much replay value for me, and I did get $43 back from GameStop. So it cost me $17. For $17, it was worth it, 100%.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Not worth it, but will probably make your top 10 list because we are in a very bad year for games. Because everything got pushed in next year. So, okay, there we go. Not worth it, guys. You want to play some Metroidvanias, there are so many better, more beautiful, more interesting and complex options out of there. I wholly endorse Ori's. I wholly endorse the Hollow Knight. All that.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. Ori and Hollow Knight are 2 of the best looking games on the market, and Nintendo couldn't match that with their own 2D Metroidvania. Kind of a disappointment.
Yeah.
They knew the title of it would sell it.
Yeah, that's true.
It is a Metroid game. Yep.
Yeah.
So, guys, here we got obviously we got Game Time, and we've got an indie spotlight. Now, which ones I'm seeing here on the outline we have for the level here that we're going to do the game and then the spotlight. But I almost feel like I want to end it with the game.
Do you?
I do.
That'd be switching things up. We always end it with indie spotlight, but
that's true.
Breaking the rhythm.
Go ahead, man. You're a boss man.
You know what? Speaking of breaking, I think I will. And that's because the indie spotlight that we're going to spotlight is a little game called The Rift Breaker. Now, what is this game? I'll tell you what this game is. This game is a top-down, isometric, mech, twin stick, shooting, RTS base building game. Okay? It is graphically, it's a really good looking game. I'm surprised. When I first fired it up, I played it on my Series X. I wasn't expecting much because it came on kind of corny. And I will say that the tone of this game is kind of a corny-ish game. But when you get into it, the shooting, and you have one arm you can use for melee. You're a mech, so you have a melee arm and then a shooting arm, that all feels good. You're on this alien planet and you're fighting these hordes of aliens, right? So you're shooting them, and there's just splatters everywhere, and it's super fun and frenetic. And while you're also building a base, because you're trying to essentially like settle on this planet to build a new planet for humanity to inhabit. So you have to make it inhabitable for people. So you're building up bases, you're building up an armory, different places like that. And though none of the buildings you build really produce units, they all enable you to purchase and get upgrades for your mech. So you can go from having a blaster arm to having a shotgun arm or a machine gun arm or a plasma rifle arm, right? And it's the same as the sword. You can upgrade the sword. You can make it a mace or anything else you want to upgrade your mech. It has a little bit of the Titanfall thing, right? Where you have a person, your main person, Ashley, who's the pilot of the mech, and then the mech has its name, and Ashley and the mech go back and forth in conversation. And at least from what I've played, there's a little bit of a undertone of, the mech, like, we got to do what we can to ensure humanity's survival. And your person's like, yeah, but creatures live here. We don't want to make it uninhabitable for them. And the mech's like, they can kick rocks. We got to make this good for humans. So you kind of had that whole battle of nature versus machine to some extent. But yeah, the gameplay is absolutely fun. The base building is interesting. It makes sense. If you've played RTS base building games before, the base building makes sense. You have, basically minerals you have to mine for, carbonium and iridium. And you also have to create energy sources. So you usually have a power plant, which takes the sources you need to mine. You have solar panels, which may not work if you run into fog or something like that. And then you have wind turbines, which use the wind of the planet. Sometimes a storm happens, you get more power production from your wind turbines, and so you have to account for that different thing. You have to mix up your energy sources to make sure that your base can be powered. You have to connect them and different stuff like that, and it's fantastic. And like I said, you're constantly attacked by hordes, so you can build these machine gun towers or missile towers, and they can help defend against smaller hordes. But every once in a while, it'll be like, oh, hey, there's a big old horde coming. You got to be there to help protect it. In that regards, if you've ever played RimWorld, it has a little bit of that feel to it there, where there's like a catastrophe or calamity that gets timed in every 5 to 10 minutes that you have to compete with. Some of the buildings take time to build. They have a timer over them, which gives you flashbacks of mobile games. But it's you know what you said. It's like, how you said Metroid's like somebody took a really good AAA game and like made it a mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like somebody took a mobile game and just made it a pretty good AA game.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's kind of like how it feels. But the Rift Breaker, Andy spotlight that I want to spotlight or a game I want to spotlight because it's pretty good, man. It's a 25 plus hour campaign. I think if you do completionist, all that other stuff, you're looking at over 50 hours of content. This game has a ton in it. And there's tons of things you can upgrade all the time. So, yes, the Rift Breaker. People, it's on Game Pass. I think it's $40 on retail, but it's on Game Pass. Give it a try. Even if just not to do all the base building, but just to, you have to do it as part of the game, but just to feel how the combat and all that stuff works. It's great, But yeah, that's Indie Spotlight, which means we're going to move on to Game Time. And Game Time is what's the meta? All right, we haven't played that in a while. We are back, and it's my turn. I'm going to run this one. So, gentlemen, are you ready?
Yeah.
Ready, sir.
Got
GG,
3
David.
games.
Yeah, congrats.
It's over.
Three
Sure.
games, each game, 5 different reviews. So, for game number 1, the first review. This is from user SmellyC15.
Love him.
Gave this game a 0 out of 10. Gameplay feels outdated. Graphic is outdated. Sound design is outdated. An outdated game.
Oh. Man, what's a very outdated game? I can't think of a more outdated game than The Witcher 3.
No.
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
Nope.
Okay. Clue number 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Pit Lord. Gave it a 5.
Okay.
If you've ever heard the expression that when you're sitting in the toilet, there comes a point where you either take a massive bleep or get off the pot, then you will understand the problem with this game. It's all setup and premise and no execution. It's like sitting on the porcelain throne and anticipating a massive log, and instead only producing a few airy farts and a couple of incidental nuggets.
What's wrong with that's not a clue.
What?
No Man's Sky?
That's a good guess.
Close, but no.
Close. Spore.
How dare you? Very good guess. No.
Thank you. Man, close. Oh man. All right. I got to get this in before David next. All right.
Okay. This one from Fatal Bubbles. Gave it a 6. The story and premise of the game are the best part. It's an interesting idea that is held back, in my opinion, by poor, retro-looking graphics, mediocre gameplay, and a very bad ending.
Retro graphics. Stardew Valley.
What? Absolutely not.
Okay. I'm not the one reviewing it.
There's been bad reviews for great games.
Retro graphics.
Yeah.
Like No Man's Sky, or No Man's Sky was a good guess.
No guess, David?
No guess, David. We're on radio. We gotta keep.
Oh,
you gotta,
I know.
You gotta
I
at
know.
least talk out your thoughts.
Well, I'm thinking retro. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just gonna say Valheim. That's the only thing I can think retro looking.
Oh no, that feels like a good guess.
It's not Valheim. No, this one should give it away.
All right, first
This
one
is
to guess,
from-
David. No turns. It's just
This
the
is
first one to shout it
from
out.
Unbranded Power. Gave it a 6. This game is the definition of overhyped based on the exaggerated reviews. I would say the mid to low reviews are pretty accurate due to this game being pretty stale and the going back in time structure being a lame excuse to make a short game with repetitive quests and backtracking.
Deathloop.
No, it can't be retro graphics.
Correct.
No,
It's Deathloop.
no,
David
No.
strikes the first blow.
no.
I was like, what game is that?
Fantastic
What
job.
game is that?
Fantastic job.
I was
Fantastic.
trying to not be rude and let him finish the question, but yeah, sure. Next game.
You said first one goes.
You did?
Yeah, like Jeopardy. You know, you let Alex finish. Alex finish. Yeah, Alex finished the question. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah. All right, I am loading up the next
pressure's on.
the next
Oh
game
my
right
gosh.
now. The pressure is on. The pressure is on. Boom, 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 boom. For some reason, Metacritic is taking its sweet time and not working. So let me try it this way.
Great.
Yeah, exactly. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. I think I got. Did I get it?
Get it?
I got it. I get it. I got it. All right.
Where's that from?
Next up.
I don't remember.
This is from Onion Creature, who
I like
gave
that
this
name.
game a 7.
Pretty good.
Quote, while the retro visuals and killer soundtrack are marvelous,
Dang.
the actual gameplay is fairly standard. It is usually fun, but there's a general lack of polish, perhaps most notably in the difficulty curve, which fluctuates on a near constant basis.
Dead Cells.
Incorrect.
Got Pilgrim?
Correct!
You gotta be
David
kidding
came
me.
in like a killer in the
Oh
night
my god. Are you guys texting
and
this?
slit the metaphorical throat of Cory right before him.
Oh my god.
Absolutely unbelievable. How did you let that happen, Cory? You know
Congrats.
what? You didn't let it happen. David took it. He
That's
came
the
in and he
first
said,
game I
enough is
won."
enough. Enough is enough.
Congrats, David. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Thanks.
Okay. So we have one more game left.
Can I try to redeem myself?
Yeah.
See if I can clean sweep it.
Let's see. I am thoroughly invested into this right now.
I'm in the mind zone right here.
The thing that gave it away was the difficulty curve.
Yeah. That's something you talked about when you had reviewed it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Ooh, I don't. Yeah, there's a lot of. Okay. I can modify this. This is from Serial Kinder, who gave this game an 8. Quote, all right, the game was great. The story is far better than the blank story. The gameplay is awesome. However, I have an issue with the game itself, and I hope we'll see some improvement in the future. The length of the game. Blank games aren't long to finish the main story, which is a shame. You pay for a game 60, 70 bucks to play it for 10 hours and then be done with it, which is what most people who bought the game will do. There are some challenges you can do in order to play longer, but in my opinion, the main story should be longer. I personally would enjoy Blank a lot more if the main story was roughly 20 hours long instead of 9 or 10.
RE Village?
That's correct.
Oh
That's
my
correct.
gosh.
Dang, I was thinking RE6.
That is
All right.
correct.
I didn't win, but congrats, David. That was a good win, man.
That was a good win. Valiant effort not to be swept on your end, Cory. Which
I like how we both
means
went with Resident Evil, though.
Right.
there you go. Obviously, there's some themes there. So
Hey,
we're done with that, which leads us to, of course, final thoughts. We give one last thought or point we want to make about anything. It can be related or unrelated to this level of the podcast. So, who would like to give their final thought first?
Can you guys settle a bet for me?
Sure.
So I'm not going to tell you what side I'm on for this one, but me and my brother had a discussion. Don't know how or why this happened, but we brought up John Goodman, and one of us says that there are over 1,000 John Goodman super fans, people that collect John Goodman merchandise, that buy his memorabilia in the world. And one of us says that no, there are not 1,000 John Goodman super fans in the world. I want to know what side you fall on. Is there 1,000 or more people who religiously love John Goodman or not?
Want me to go first, David?
yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely, there are.
Yeah, I'm on the same side. He's been in so many great things. I mean, Roseanne being one of them. That one movie that everybody quotes that I have never seen.
The Dude. Well, it's not The Dude, but The Dude. It's about that, right?
Like Big Lebowski or something like that. Yeah, he's in that. He's been in a bunch of other stuff. He's done a lot of animated films, I think, too.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the Flintstones.
I understand he's well known. He's well known. I'm talking about people that go out
super fans,
and see, his outfit from the Flintstones is online. I need to buy this because I love
for
John
sure.
Goodman.
Absolutely.
1,000 people.
Absolutely.
And then also, you got to keep in mind, John Goodman is a random enough celebrity to have super fans.
I would argue 75% of the world doesn't even know his name at all.
Yeah, that's probably true, but there's easy 1,000 super fans.
I'm not going to tell you what side I am on, but you guys are off your rocker.
Okay.
So you're on the under then at that
I'm not going to say, but you guys are off your rocker. Cody will never hear this part of the episode.
Okay.
I'm sending him a message.
David, what about you?
I guess my final thought is, if you've had something on your mind for a while now, about thinking about changing something or doing something, put your first foot down, do it. Like, I've been wanting to eat healthier for a long time now, but I'd eat, fast food every day anyways. But I took the step forward. I've eaten salad 4 days in a row for dinner, and it's actually tasted delicious every single time. I'm not eating fast food for lunch anymore. It's been going well. It's going a lot better than I thought it would. So don't be afraid to start something. That's my final thought.
Nice.
Nice. My final thought is that Wildermyth is just an incredible game. I cannot wait to play more of it. I can't believe I waited so long to actually play the game because it came out earlier this year. And I am going to just start playing it just immediately after this. I cannot.
5 minutes.
You know, Age of Empires 4 came out. Definitely going to play that, but that will wait till I get done with some more Wildermyth. That's my final thought. That's my final thought. That brings us to the end of level 39 of the Thoughts and Players podcast. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast service. You can also like and follow the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/Thoughts and Players, like it's all one word. We are on Instagram at Thoughts.Players. YouTube, we post full episodes and videos, that stuff. Twitter, at Thoughts Players too. And we are on TikTok, where we post short video clips and memes. We want to thank everyone for tuning in.
And Reddit.
Oh yes, we are now on Reddit.
Oh yeah.
Be sure to follow. Be sure to join our subreddit. We're posting different polls and different things there, trying to get your ideas of what we can do to improve the show, or just make it more engaging. Very good call out there. And yeah, that's it for this level. And we will catch you on the next level.